You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
For the community, by the community.
For the community, by the community.
For the community, by the community.
Stressful experience for all of us.
Well, you know, I would start as soon as you can.
Hello and welcome back to Home Chat, your local show about home, house and real estate. My name is Katja Dann, working with William Revis Real Estate. Welcome back. It's summertime. I hope you're all enjoying yourself. It's beautiful weather. Finally, summer arrived. Perfect temperatures. Well, as usually, let's start with some real estate statistics, some real estate numbers. And we will also plant in two graphics which will help you to understand the numbers I'm going to broadcast. Spring market has been very busy. We're kind of getting closer to the end of the spring market, which doesn't mean it is slowing down dramatically, but you know, we are definitely seeing it slowing down a little bit. At this point, up to date, in West Hartford, in every price range, we have about 291 houses on the market. From those 291 houses, 140 houses are under contract. That means somebody placed an offer. It's either called continue to show or it's under deposit, which means the bank promised to give a loan to the buyer in form of a mortgage commitment letter. Then from those 291 houses, 106 have been sold. This is not quite correct. 106 houses have been sold between January and now. So 291 houses are on the market right now. 140 of those 291 are under contract. 106 houses have been sold in the past months. Interesting to see, if you look at the graphic, the top price range is really the 300 to 399K. From all houses on the market in this price range, 40% sold very fast. I would think, if I look at the numbers, between 5 to 45 days, just in a couple of months. So we're talking about a good market here. Then the price range under 200K, 20% of all houses on the market sold, again, in the past 6 months. Then followed by the price range 400 to 499K, and then we are going to the price range 600K and over with 8.9, 500 to 599, 6.7%. Again, in a time frame between January and now. All houses who have been on the market in the past 6 months, so 6.7% sold, or in the beginning, the price range 300 to 399K, 40% of all those houses sold, and the rest will sell too. It just might take a little longer. Again, as always, the biggest factor is that your house has to be in a sellable and competitive condition, nicely staged. Remember to declutter. Decluttering is very important, and it always pays back to put the effort in to take care of your clutter and get it organized. Rent a little storage place, put stuff in your neighbor's garage, or keep it in your attic, keep it in one spot if you cannot maybe afford a storage place or you don't have the neighbor's garage. Just keep your clutter out of your living space and either basement or attic. It will definitely help the buyer to see the treasure you have, and it will sell your house much, much faster. Having said that, today we invited Lori Carpenos. Lori is a family and a marriage licensed in Connecticut, a counselor, therapist, right? Why don't you introduce yourself? And first of all, thank you so much for coming, and I can't wait to talk about our topic today, taking the stress out of moving. So we are curious to hear from you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I love talking about taking the stress out of life, and certainly moving is a part of life.
Definitely.
So
tell us a little bit what you do in West Hartford.
Well, I think more of myself as a coach because I'm an educator. And I was very fortunate to run into a group of people, doctors, therapists, and business people back in 1985. And I was very stressed out myself in 1985.
Happens.
So, but what I learned just really took so much stress out of my life. And it can be applied to moving, certainly. So I'd love to talk to you about that and talk to the viewing public about de-stressing. They can use what we talk about not just for a move, but in their life in general.
Wonderful. And I can see that. You can transfer this of all parts of your life. Stress is stress. Just the reasons sometimes are related to different portions of our life, I guess. When I think about moving, I mean, moving it's a stressful experience for all of us. And when I think about my own life, I think I have been moving probably 17, 18 times in my life, maybe 2 to 3 times as a child, but then mostly as a young adult and
wow.
Now as a family and with my children. And so definitely a very enriching experience. It really molded my life and also the life of my husband and my children. And I feel like it's also brought us closer together. Moving, as I remember, can be very stressful, but it brings so many wonderful experience with it too. And if I look at real estate, now I'm on the other side. I feel like I'm on the other side because I'm helping people to move constantly, kind of, motivating, walking them through the process of moving. Lori, when I think about families, I often see much more anxiety before people put their house on the market than during the actually time of move. Why is that? How would you explain that?
Well, my guess is that people put a lot of thinking into whether or not they should move and what price range and what realty firm and what realtor, all of these questions and thoughts. And whenever people think too much, that's what causes stress. Have you ever looked back on your life and realized, like, hearing that you moved 17 times sounds astronomical to me, but
yeah, big numbers.
But when we think about how many times we've each moved, I realized that when I was in college and several years afterward, I was moving about 3 times a year.
Oh yeah, just little moves, right?
Yeah,
you can
it adds up. But now, looking back, probably for you also, you can't even remember what was stressful about it.
I agree.
Right? It becomes just a story that we tell.
That's so true.
And that's valuable information, something that we can use when we are going through something that could be potentially stressful. If we just wake up in the moment of stress and realize, wow, we're just overthinking right now, we're overdoing it. And sure, you have to plan, but there's a way to stress about it and there's a way to reflect on it. Reflection is more gentle thinking, kind of looking at it from different ways in a playful manner, as opposed to tight, and thinking that this is life or death and I better get it right. No mistake is terrible, awful, irretrievable, even though it may appear to be at the time. But looking back, there's always another way around or another way to see it.
Right.
And in fact, we all see the same thing differently from day to day, and sometimes even from moment to moment.
So what would you recommend when you think about, let's say there is this family, and I think, looking back, I mean, we moved nationally and internationally, a few times. When I look back, it's definitely a big difference moving with children than just as a couple or just as a young adult. What would you recommend people? What should they do to maybe minimize the stress?
Well, what I recommend is that you use your ability to think in a healthy manner.
Okay.
And I'll explain what I mean by that. Because we can do both. We can use this precious resource that we have, our ability to think. We could use it against ourselves, to stress ourselves out more, or we could use it in our favor to look at possibilities and interest and get excited about things and look forward to things, or we can get uptight and overthink. So what I recommend is that you just notice when you're stressed, because that feeling is terrific. It alerts us. It alerts us to when we're overthinking things. And if we heed that, then we can just relax our mind. We can relax more.
So you feel like the positive
Yes.
things gives you more strength than
Yes.
the fears you put in or the concerns you have?
Exactly.
How would it be?
We can focus on the positive ways we think about things, or we can focus on the uptight, stressful ways we think about things.
Any thoughts for, let's say, for children? What would you recommend for children? How should a family handle children? Because children develop anxieties too.
Well, to answer their questions, and answer their questions in an upbeat way, and visiting the area first. It's kind of the way you would show a child their new school before they enter a new elementary school, a new junior high, a new high school. Drive by it, get to know it, familiarize yourself with it.
Nice thought.
And the neighborhood. It's great to, if you can, of course, if you're moving internationally. So now the internet, you can get photographs and pictures, and
very nice.
maybe
idea.
even get pen pals for the children ahead of time in that area.
That is a very good idea.
Yeah.
Internet, of course. Often you can't travel there. Sometimes you get just a few days to visit.
Right.
Sometimes that's just not enough.
Right.
Yeah, I like the idea. So the internet, people can use the internet to research about the area, right? About things to do.
And now with Google,
I guess.
what do they call it?
Yeah.
Google Earth or Google Streets, you can actually see your neighborhood, your house you're moving to. Just
This is
plug
amazing.
in
You
the
can
address.
even walk on your street. Have you ever done this? You can walk on your street.
That's
When
right.
Thank you. That's a good thought. I have some other questions. We often think that let me rephrase that. If I think about a move, in the beginning we said our negative thoughts always kind of get in between a really positive experience. A move can be a very positive experience.
Sure.
And when I think about moving, being organized, and I always get back to my to-do list, it's one of the biggest things for people to stay on track and to not to run into this excitement of losing themselves.
Not to get
into
caught up in all that, right?
Exactly.